Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Love Alchemy Sessions, episode 4. Thank you so much if you've been here for the first 3 episodes. If you're new, my name is Carrie Taminia. I'm an energetic love coach, and my soul's purpose is to help women and men bring more epic love into their lives. Happy fall equinox. I want to talk about a topic that not only is perfectly fitting for this time of year, but also is one of the topics that comes up over and over and over again. The most common topic, if I had to choose one, in all of my one-on-one work, all of my group work, all of my courses, it is the topic that the most people consistently struggle with around bringing in new relationships, around attracting their soulmates, around just doing something different from what they've ever done from a love perspective. And that is forgiveness. Truly letting go of old stories, old relationships, that one ex that just gets to you, all of those past relationships where you were hurt, mistreated, or even in some cases where you did the hurting. Forgiveness is such an important topic when we're talking about relationships because it is entirely one-sided. So we have this really common misconception around forgiveness that if I forgive someone, it's somehow affecting them in some way. It says something or makes a statement about their deservability or their merit, and the most common response that I get from women around forgiveness is, I don't want to I don't want to forgive this person because they don't deserve it. I don't want to let them off the hook for what they did. They don't deserve to get away with X, Y, and Z, whatever, fill in the blank to the terrible thing that they did. And what I have to remind people of over and over and over again is that forgiveness is not about letting someone else off the hook. Forgiveness is not about saying that what they did didn't matter, or they're not responsible for it, or it didn't mean something in some way, and it does not take away the acknowledgement for what you survived, what you went through, and what you've experienced. What it does do is it says to you, I deserve peace and well-being and to move on, more than I deserve to spend another moment holding vigil to this old story. More than I deserve to spend another moment of my life working and putting energy into holding this person responsible when that was never my job to begin with. Forgiving someone and letting go of that old relationship and that old story doesn't take away that person's responsibility for their behavior. If the behavior was shitty, then the behavior was shitty. It just stays that way. But you don't have to stay there and camp out in that story, making sure that everyone knows that the behavior was shitty. Because you're wasting time, you're wasting energy, you're wasting your life holding on to something that was never your job to hold on to in the first place. The second reason that forgiveness is incredibly important is because we live in a vibrational universe. Whatever we put out, whatever we focus our energy on, whatever place and story and feeling that we put our attention on the most, we bring back more of that energy into our experience. The universe will always reflect back to you what you're putting your energy into, what you're putting out there. And so the longer you spend putting your energy into this story, into those feelings, into everything attached to it, the more you're going to attract similar circumstances, similar feelings, similar vibes. And I can probably guarantee that that's not what you want to bring more of into your life. If you want to move on, let go, and forgive for real, once and for all, just to be done with it, to bring in newer, better, bigger, more epic experiences, forgiveness is a must. But there are 3 really important things that I want you to understand about forgiveness before you can just kind of dive into the deep end of the pool. And if you can take these 3 things and you can put them into practice, and you can help shift your perspective just a little bit, not only will it make really letting go for real a whole lot easier, but it is going to free you from those old stories and put out into the universe new energy, new feelings, so that you can bring back in some more of what you actually deserve, which is big, epic love. The love that you've been dreaming about and journaling about for years. It's totally possible and it exists. But you have to be in a place where you can accept it. And if we're constantly focusing on those old stories, if we're constantly looking behind us, we're not in a place to accept new things. We're not in a place that we have enough space for a new love story if we're just reharping on the old one over and over and over again. 3 things. Number 1, most important thing, understand that forgiveness is a practice. I want you to ditch this idea that forgiveness is this one-shot magic pill, flash in the pan moment where you decide and you're done. Sometimes forgiveness can feel that way. Sometimes we can really just be done in a moment. But for most of us human beings living in this very human experience, forgiveness is something that we choose to do over and over and over again. Letting go is something that we choose to do every single day. And it doesn't mean that we're bad at it. And it doesn't mean that we're doing something wrong. And it doesn't mean that we haven't done it correctly in some way. It is the nature of forgiveness. Because things are going to happen. You're going to be triggered. That anniversary date is going to roll around at some point. You're going to have emotions. And emotions, remember, if you work with me, you know this. Emotions are simply more information. So if emotions come up around an old relationship, an old love, an ex, for whatever reason, it is simply a mile marker along your journey. It's just a red flag. It's just a, hey, here's some information maybe you should pay attention to. They are not the holders of truth. Your emotions are not the truth bringers because they change all the time depending on what's going on around you. So there will be days that you don't feel like forgiving. There are going to be days where you don't feel like letting go. And there will absolutely be days where you have feelings and emotions that are triggered for a specific reason. And your job on this journey and practice of forgiveness is to acknowledge those feelings for what they are, more information, to take what you need to take from them. If they're pointing you to a specific trigger, figure out why that triggers you. If it's a specific date, take that date and really spend some time loving on yourself. Take those things as information and choose how you will respond to them. And in your choice, right, because it's our human nature to just run with our emotions, like we like to wallow in them a little bit. But in that choice of choosing how I'm going to respond to my emotions in that moment, I can choose to let go. I can choose to remind myself, I forgive this person. I no longer need this story in my life. And shift your focus to something you do want more of. So that's number 1. Forgiveness is a practice. You will do it over and over and over again until you don't have to anymore. Because there will come a day where you don't need to engage in the practice around that relationship or that person or that ex anymore. And it will sneak up on you, or it will just happen without you having a conscious awareness of it most of the time, but it will happen. And you will find yourself in that moment realizing that you haven't thought about that person or that relationship in months, and you didn't even realize it. And then you're finished. So again, number 1, forgiveness is a practice. Number 2, compassion. This would serve all of us in general in our lives if we could grasp onto it a little bit more, but it's a great step in really letting go of past relationships, viewing other people from a place of compassion. And what I mean when I say compassion is understanding that we are all human, and that we are all on this planet living this human experience for the same reason. We're all learning and evolving, and we're all working on being better people on some level. Some people don't look like they're working on being better people, and that's okay. It's where they are in their journey. But if we can acknowledge that we're all here for the same purpose and the same reason, and that in reality, none of us are any different, We're just at different points along the path of evolution. We're just at different points along the path of becoming better people. Then it becomes a whole lot easier to identify with and offer kindness to and understanding to other people. Whether that be the guy that cheated on you, or the person in the bank who's counting out their pennies and you're already late for a meeting, or the person driving down the left lane on the highway going under the speed limit. Please don't do that, by the way. Whatever the situation is, choosing to view the situation and that person from a place of compassion brings you a whole lot closer to being free and letting go. Understanding that no matter what decisions were made, no matter what the behavior was, that we're all here for the same purpose anyway, and we've all probably done shitty things at some point or another in our lives, and we will all probably continue to do things that are less than stellar on our evolutionary journey. Number 3, gratitude. We talk a lot about gratitude in the spiritual community, and that's because it is such a profound practice. And this fall season, now that we're officially into fall for real, is a really perfect time to begin a gratitude practice if you don't have one already. And gratitude, when it comes to your past relationships and forgiveness, is a key step in moving on and letting go. And the reason that it's a key step is because it helps shift our natural human focus from the thing that was terrible, the bad thing that happened, the awful thing they did, the way that they cheated on us, the thing that they said, the way they talked to us, the way that we were treated, all of the things that we tend to hone our energy in on and are so easy to remember. It forces us into a conscious shift of remembering the elements of that relationship that we can still be grateful for. We can be grateful for having experiences and moments and days that were really positive. Experiences and moments and days that were lovely experiences. And it doesn't, again, remove them from responsibility for their other behavior. It doesn't take away the sting of the end of the relationship or them leaving, etc., etc. But what it does is it helps make a conscious shift over and over and over again into choosing to focus on the parts that felt good so you can start to attract more of what feels good into your life. The second thing that gratitude does is it helps us remember and acknowledge something really important about relationships. All of your relationships, no matter how they ended, no matter how long it lasted, no matter the situation, occur for a reason. All of our interactions in our relationships with other people are intended to mirror back to us more of ourselves. They are intended to teach us and help us grow along our path. They are intended to evolve you. And each relationship does that in a different way. And if we choose to be grateful, it is a really good reminder and a really good way to remember that no matter how difficult that relationship was, it occurred for a reason. No matter how difficult that relationship was, it was intended to teach you something and help you evolve. And you can be grateful for that lesson, grateful for that learning, grateful for that movement along your path. And then suddenly your relationship wasn't some arbitrary thing that was traumatic and awful, or that ended badly or left you eating ice cream for days in your bed while you cried and watched, rom-coms. Suddenly that relationship is something that served a purpose. It had a reason. Even if parts of it sucked, it wasn't random. And if we focus on growing and learning as a response to our relationships and viewing them as help along our evolutionary path, instead of only focusing on the traumatic parts, the difficult parts, and the hard parts, and if we shift into a place of gratitude for that experience, it helps you not only let go, but it also helps bring more experiences into your life. It helps us learn from the relationships that are past so that we don't have to keep learning that same lesson over and over again. And we can start to bring something new and better and bigger into our lives. I would really, really invite you to engage on this process. As a recap, 3 things you need to know about forgiveness. Super important. Forgiveness is a practice. You're going to do it over and over again. 2, start to shift consciously, making the choice to view the world, including your exes and old relationships, from a place of compassion. Understanding that we're all human, we're all here for the same reason, and we're all going through this together. We're just at different places on the path. Number 3, gratitude. Find conscious reasons to be grateful for your relationship experience. Find the moments that were happy. Find the experiences that were awesome. And find the reason for that relationship. How is it serving your growth and your evolution? What did that relationship teach you that now you don't have to learn anymore? Even if the only thing you can come up with is that it showed you what you don't want, still something you can be grateful for, because now you don't have to repeat a relationship like that again. I would absolutely invite you to visit my website, browse around if you're already here, and see how I can support you in your journey of letting go, moving on, and bringing epic love into your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Sunday, happy fall equinox, and have an amazing week.